But in this case, we're speaking of rules of behavior. And so, because you have lived it for so long, some of you, it goes a little, how to say, against your grain to step out of the way you've been walking on this road or walking on this street. You've taken the same path every day, blah, 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 blah. Oh, it gets boring. No wonder you don't have passion. Go down another road. Do it any way you wish. There are no rules. There never have been rules, not by spirit. There have never been rules. You have placed the rules and limitations on yourselves. And it was appropriate. We are speaking with no judgment, no criticism. It was appropriate. It was the way you set this game up to be played. But now, design a new game. And this is what you are doing.
So the old game is over.
Indeed.
Let's make a scenario here. The old game is over. But here we all are, 90% of us still asleep, acting like the old game isn't over.
Indeed.
And someone has to either wake you up, or you have to figure out how to wake yourself up and say, I don't have to do that anymore. Yes, I can do this instead. That's what's got to start steamrolling.
Well, indeed, beloved, but that doesn't happen. Again, much of humanity has been playing the same groove that now the needle on the record doesn't even play anymore. It just keeps staying in that same groove. It is so deeply rutted, almost to a hole at the bottom. Because you have been so used to playing the game the same way, playing the game by the same rules, playing the game with the same people. This is what you have done. Mass consciousness thought says, I must go to work every day to make a living.
Whether I like it or not.
Indeed. Well, and in most cases, you don't like it. And yet you still do it. And yet we are saying, indeed, and this is your belief systems, and this is the mass consciousness, and you all fall into it. But now there are many of you who are living outside of that, or trying, and there have been some bumping of your head in the past, especially the last 3 years. For those of you who perhaps have lost jobs or what have you, there's been a bumping of your head, and you're still trying to figure out, and then there was this big magic answer of the secret that came out, and the law of attraction, which is quite valid. It is all valid. But you expected the paradigm to change like that, and it didn't. But now it can. However, not everyone will awaken when you say they need to. Your responsibility is you. You understand? Your responsibility is you. And so, if you choose to step off the merry-go-round or off the treadmill, some of you, especially if you've been spinning around on this for quite some time, you will sort of lose your balance, lose your equilibrium, and perhaps you will go in another direction where you are finding, you're bumping your head, but you will balance out, you will even out, so to speak. But start somewhere. If you wear, how to say, if you wear the same, if you wear the same style clothes every day and you've been doing it forever, well, try something small like that by just changing an outfit, changing a different style, or your hairstyle if you've been wearing it for so long in a different way. These are little ways to start breaking yourself out of the groove. You do not want to shock yourself. You do not want to wake up tomorrow morning and say, I will no longer go to work. I will no longer pay my bills. I will no longer do this. I will no longer do that. For sure, it is very akin. What you will do to yourself is very much when you are on this merry-go-round or on this treadmill and it stops abruptly, you get off and you are spinning and bumping yourself. You cannot catch your balance. You see, so while you do have the energetic support to start making something new your reality, you see, the mass consciousness had to start with one thought. How mass consciousness works is this. The mass consciousness says you must work to earn a living and pay your bills. If you do not, you are a sponge off the system, or you are not worthy, or blah, blah, blah. You criticize and judge each other all the time for these things. Perhaps not you specifically, but we are speaking in general. Now, you, mass consciousness thought. So, somewhere down the line, hundreds of years ago, somebody started putting this into play. And this thought went into the mass consciousness pool, because that's where your thoughts go. We've already addressed this. Now someone else said, oh, this works for that one. Oh, yes, I must have to go to work every day and to do this. Oh, so this becomes their belief. They add their thought to the mass consciousness pool. And then someone else comes, before you know it, the whole village is working on this, and then it sends from the village to the town, and from the town to the larger state, etc., etc. It just spreads.
That's the mass hypnosis.
This is mass hypnosis or mass consciousness thought we refer to. But it is a mass hypnosis. Mass consciousness thought. You tell yourself over and over something will eventually become the belief. So, how do you start a new mass consciousness? Just for yourself.
Start doing things that make you feel better.
Indeed. And you add that to the thought. And you are not alone, beloved. You see, all of you think that you are alone in some of these thoughts that you have by yourself. When you start speaking to others, you would be quite surprised to find how many believe the same way you do. Find your voice. You can create a new paradigm even within the old. You are always going to have for quite some time those who still insist on living in the comfortable old, even though it is not comfortable for them. But they have become comfortable in the discomfort. They would rather know what they are facing, even though it is uncomfortable. Now, for those who wish to live and take full advantage of this new time, this new era, this new energy, you can start putting into play new thoughts, new ideas. Eventually, we will say, it is amazing to us how many of you are slaves of time and slaves of your jobs, still. It need not be this way. You are waking up to this. And your crash of your financial systems, and it is still ongoing, let us say, it's just that you are not aware of it, of what really is going on behind the scenes. And we are not saying this to make you fearful, but there are, your financial structures are, how to say, still very much out of balance. And you have just not been told, the masses have not been told, because they do not want to create hysteria. Do you understand? Well, you're the ones who have control of this knowledge. They do not wish to create hysteria. And it is nothing to get hysterical over. It is nothing to be fearful over. But, you see, the crashing of your financial systems is a big wave for many of you to ride to create a new paradigm, a new way of being when it comes to your money, when it comes to your jobs. Those of you who have lost your jobs, be thankful you've lost them, because that has propelled you into moving into a different way, finding a different way to do things. Because you are finding the old ways of doing things, the old ways of applying for jobs. No more. Can you just go in and say, here I am, let me fill out my application? Oh, no, you have to go into the big computers. And then you go into the data bank. And then maybe they will pull out your resume or your information. You see, that is changing. You see, the old ways of finding jobs, that is going. That is a thing of the past. Thank God. Because now it is pushing you forward. It is propelling you to find another way to do things, to work for yourself, to find your passion.